making Verosika Mayday'S horns out of EVA foam. It's super easy, and here's how to do it. What is Blazing Dragon Ninjas? Got some brand new heat for y'all today, and for this we're just gonna get straight into this. And to start, we'll be making a triangle with a diagonal line being the whole ruler length. I will prefix that this was a trial and error, and I had no set goal. I was just going and hoping for the best. So I'll give you the right measurements, but know that mine do change. Alright, now that that's out of the way, let me give you the dimensions of the triangle. The base will be 8 inches and the height will be around 9 inches. Here's some of the trial and error I was talking about earlier. I made this piece and I did end up having a good reference towards it, but this is not the finalized piece. So what I'm basically doing is making a base which will attach to the point of the horn, and the base dimensions are 6 inches for the base and the height is about 7.5 inches. Now that's not all. When you make your rectangle, you're gonna have to cut the corners, and I'm not talking about being cheap, but you're gonna have to literally cut the corners. So you'll be following the exact directions of what I'm showing you on the screen. And you're probably wondering, what is this gonna help you achieve? And this will basically help you achieve a look, and I'll pop up a picture right here of how the horn grows as it reaches towards the elbow of the horn. Also, have I not said already that I'm a fraud? I've actually never watched the show. I don't know anything about this. I don't know this character. It was just a request and I'm making it for somebody, so this is just to help any of you guys that need this. Don't ask me questions about this show. Well, anyway, back to this. I'm doing a technique where I make smart folds, which I'll then cut to add a curvature to the EVA foam. After I bent a certain area, I'll mark it down with a pencil, and then I'll cut that area, and then I'll line it up with the top and bottom half of the EVA foam. And when the top and bottom halves are connected, you should see a slight bend in the horn. I made another cut in the middle of the horn just to make the curves more pronounced. And I'm still applying the same technique as I did to the top of the horn. If the part where you cut isn't flush, then that means you'll probably need to cut deeper, or you need to cut a little bit more from one of the sides. For this process, I brought in Editor Me for a better angle and better clarification. Test demo. So basically, what I'm saying to do is this. So you'll cut, let's say you need, the horn is like this, right? And you want to bend it down like this. But see, you can't currently bend it down because it's impossible. After you made your mark on where the crease is, so right here is where you need to cut. You cut that like so. Don't cut it too deep, but you can cut it pretty deep if it's not flush. And what I'm saying to do is now bend it down, find how much you want it to curve down, and I can see that I do not like this. I'm going to get rid of all this excess, stopping my curve from being flush because this part is sticking out. So now I'm gonna get rid of all this, removing like a triangular piece, and then now if I want to bend it, boom and boom. And you'll do that to the other side instead of it being like this, or if you force it, just a forced one, and it's curved and it's forced, you'll get an ugly, distorted terribleness. But now if you curve it and you want to curve, boom, and you make it flush, see how smooth it is? That's what we're doing. Hopefully that intermission was helpful, and we'll get back to our regular program. So now, as you can see, I'm doing exactly what I said previously, and I hope this can give you a better visual of exactly what you have to do. Now, after cutting off the excess, I applied super glue, and I'm now gluing it together. I've now glued together my first curve, and now I've kind of encountered an issue. I got a bit stuck here, as you can see from my confusion. I'll definitely add probably a piece of EVA. So I came up with a much better idea and just glued the two halves together. It really wasn't that hard. Now here's the first horn that's partially complete. It's just a little bit refined. All I did was cut over the flaps that were on the base of the horn. Now starting on the second horn, the base is 7 inches and the height is about 6 inches. And I did something different with this one. I added a curved bottom to cover up the hole that I saw previously, but it might have been a mistake, so you guys don't have to do that. And for the dimensions of the smaller horn, the height is 5 inches, and the base I did change, so you can make it about 6 inches. I didn't like the base length, so I did augment it, and this is why I'm saying you should make it around 6 inches. Now we're gonna replicate the same things we did for the first horn with this one. We're gonna get our rectangle base again, and we're gonna make it a trapezoid again. And when that is made, you'll glue it. Now to find the angle you want the second horn to point towards. So what I did was draw this inner design along the horns, as you can see, and this helped me guide the angle of where I want the horn to point towards. You can also draw a line from the smaller horn to the bigger horn to see where the point lands. Honestly, at this point, it's kind of a free will thing of how well you think it looks like and how accurate you think it is, so you don't have to follow me here. Here are the partially completed and refined horns. This is the state they're in. I'm probably just gonna hit them with a sander now. So I used wood filler at first because I didn't want to use resin for you guys to make it easier, but wood filler and EVA foam do not go well together. It didn't turn out well, so I kind of scrapped that idea. And as you can see, there's a lot less on the horn. I tried to apply some pink thinking that it would go over it, but the pink was very light and it couldn't go over the dark spots, so I had to restart. This is what happens when you try and go with the flow without any plan. You get stuff like this.
Here we go again!
Okay, so take 2 was a lot different. I used a 2-in-1 filler and sandable primer, and I also added glazing and spot putty. And it still didn't work. A whole bunch of cracks were forming, and it couldn't stick on top of the EVA foam.
Failure. Continue.
So I caved in, and then I just ended up using some fiberglass resin because of the fast drying time and just to cover the bumps and inconsistencies. Also, I forgot to add that the aluminum foil rolls are actually very clutch here because you don't have to touch the horns directly, so it's easier to paint and put resin on. The horns have been resinated, and now it's time to sand it. And with a snap, it's being sanded. Now it's time to paint. Now after hitting the horns with about 3 coats of pink, we're gonna hit it with the black designs. And as you've seen, I drew a line to indicate where I want the black designs to be on the horn. I measured the part to be about 3.5 inches. And for the small horn, the design is 2 inches. I would also like to note that this is a really good tutorial for those who just want to make horns and horns at that. It doesn't have to be specifically Verosika Mayday'S, so you can use this tutorial to do that. Okay, now for the star. The star I would put directly on the elbow. I wouldn't put it above or below because that's what I did and it didn't turn out too well. The star, I can't help you with this. I've never been good at drawing stars. Never. Not once in my life have I ever been good at drawing stars. And this was really telling. If you're good at drawing stars, it will look a lot better than mine. So this is my issue, is that I put the stars at the wrong areas, so this is why they look off. So here's the before I edited the stars. This is how it looked like. And here's the after.
Success!
These ones definitely look a lot more cleaner, and they look like they're done right. You know, the stars even look better. I also hit the horns with a matte varnish at the end. And of course, what is the horn without the head, right? Hopefully this picture gives you a better concept of how tall it's gonna look on your head. And of course, if you enjoyed the video and found this video helpful, be sure to burn the like button and subscribe. And later, Dragon Ninjas.